Okay, so this is going to be the last lesson of theory on this linear graphs. And what I've done here is it's sort of showing you a little bit what we're going to lead into next semester with our topic. But also it's the main points of these are year 12 exam questions and where we're going to like what you'll get for linear and stuff. All right, so we're going to find the equation of a regression line. So what a regression line is, what we're going to soon learn is like it is a linear, we're going to find the linear regression line. So it means the straight line. And so what we want to do is we might be given this scenario here. So what I'm saying is we've got this graph and they've got that straight line going through it. That's the linear regression line. So we're going to call that, we could write that. So that's the linear regression line. So we want to find the equation of that line. So we know that we can see it's a straight line. So we know therefore it must have this pattern. So when it's a straight line. So we saw yesterday that how we can get that. We said what we want to do is we want to find 2 points that this line is going through. So not the dots, we just want to find that line goes through. So say for example, I might go here. Now I have to be really careful. This is actually X is like the X value is 21 and we might say that it's 17.1234. So it's 17.4. So there's 1 point. So, and I'm going to get another point that this line goes through. So I might need to get a ruler and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So say I might go for, say this point here. So it doesn't have to be a dot. So then I'm all right, it's got an X value of 25. And if I go across, I'm going to say it's got a 18.7, say. So 18.7. If you can get your ruler, you might be able to check it. I'm just on the computer. I sort of can't rule it out there. So once we've got those 2 points, so I actually found 2 different ones here. I went for the 26 down here and the 19.1 and the 7, I did 21 and 17.4. So I found another point up there when I did it this other time. So we did the same as what we did. Remember, we go menu. Once we put the 2 lists in, we then go menu, stats, stat calc, and then we chose the linear reg, the A plus BX. Okay, so we did that, and this is what we see on our calculator. And you can see down here, this is what we're looking for. We've got the A and the B value. So now I'm going to go write out the equation because they're saying, what's the equation? So if I went over here, so I go to write it out, I could say Y equals, now I know A is 10.26 plus B is 0.34x. Now, what you have to understand is it's not actually Y and it's not actually X anymore because we're actually talking about something. So over here on the Y-axis is called wrist circumference, and down here on the X-axis is the ankle circumference. So if I'm actually going to write this equation out, I now have to do what these are called. These are the variable names. So we're going to have to use them. So what I write is I'll write wrist circumference, because that's what Y is, equals, then I'll write the numbers, 10.26 plus 0.34 times ankle circumference. I'm just going to abbreviate that. Okay, so you need to write the variable names. You can't write Y and X anymore because we want to be talking about what we're actually talking about. So there's an example of how you're going to use your skills, like how you're going to use the calculator and how you get the graph. Now, be really careful because remember, this was not the y-intercept. So you have to just put in the 2 points and that whatever it says there. So it didn't say 0. So there you go. You can see I've written it out down here. Sorry, should have moved down a bit. So there's the variable names. Okay, and maybe we'll just put above here that this was my A value and that was my B value. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. Now, this is another skill they'll ask us to do for the regression line. So remember, all of yours is going to be linear regression. So it's all going to be linear regression line. So that means it's going to be a straight line. So here, what they've done, you've got a scatter plot. So they collected some data on the number of entries and entry fee. Anyway, they did it and they've put all the data in and they've found out this is the equation, or this is the linear regression line. So they're giving you that. So that's the A value, that's the B value, but they want you to draw that line on the graph. So what you now have to do is with this one. So when you've got to draw it on so it says here, you can see here, draw on the scatter plot. So what you want to do is you pick so I'm going to put steps here. So you want to pick 2 x values, so at the moment we'll start calling this the EV, the explanatory variable. So you can just put EV in that'll make sense next unit. So just put that there. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 5 and I'm going to pick 20. Okay, so I'm picking those. And what you're going to do, so pick 2 and sub those values into the equation. So what I mean by that is I'm going to say when x equals 5, so I'm going to do the number of entries will equal 50.4 minus 2.1 times 5. So we'll do that. You can just do that on your calculator. So we've got 50.4 minus, what was it, 2.1 times 5. So we get 39.9. So 39.9. So what you've got when x is 5, the y, so here's y, which we're going to start calling response variable. So when x is 5, we've got y is 39.9. So it's nearly at the 40. So I'm going to put across there. So there's a point. Okay, so there's my first point, 5 and 39.9. And then I'm going to do another one, and I've picked when x equals 20, and I'll do the same thing. So number of entries, I'm going to do 50.4 minus 2.1 times 20. Okay, so on your calculator, you can just quickly highlight the one before, press enter, but I'm just going to change it to 20 instead of 5. So I get 8.4. So what I know, another point, when it's 20, it's 8.4. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's roughly there. So once you've done that, you get your ruler and you join up your two. I'll put a cross there so you can see. So I'm going to join my 2 points because you only ever need 2 points to draw a straight line. So then we just get the ruler and, hopefully yours is a bit straighter, and put a line through, and there you've drawn the graph. Okay, be careful about this. So next year when you're in year 12, often this is in an exam, and see how it's got the instruction of what to do is there, and there's the 1 mark. Kids often overlook this because there's no blank line. Do you get what I mean? To answer a question. So the question is actually drawing the line. So don't skim over it. It's often missed. Okay. So then if we go here, so this is me taking all of these year 12 questions so that you guys know. So here we've got the same thing. What they're talking about, instead of having y, we're talking about lifespan. So that's going to be our response variable, our y. And then over here, we've got sleep time, which is our x. And they've said, here's the equation. Once they've put this data in, they've found a linear regression equation. So this is a linear regression equation. Okay, so they've done that already in their calculators, which we'll learn about next term. So we've got that, and they say, can you draw, this is just another value that they've given us, but here they're asking us to draw it on the scatter plot. So once again, I'm going to take 2 points. So I'm going to take 2, and it doesn't matter which points. I might take 10, 2 and 10, and I'm going to sub it in. So here I'm going to use this formula. So I'm just going to call lifespan equals, and it's 42.1 minus 1.90, and my first x, so I'm doing when x equals 2 times 2 equals, so we'll do that on the calculator. So 42.1 minus 1.9 times 2, we get 38.3. So 38.3. So when it's 2, it's 38.3, roughly there. Okay, and then I'm going to do when x equals 10. So lifespan will equal 42.1 minus 1.90 times 10. And so you can just quickly, if you want, copy that one before and put 10. So we get 23. Let's be quick there. 23.1. So 23.1. So when it's 10, it's 3.1. So say there, grab your ruler, line up your 2 crosses, and off. Oh God, sorry. Oh, I didn't even draw. Thank God. And then draw. Oh, it doesn't want me to do it. Sorry. Sorry, you guys should line that up. I can't, I'm struggling. So that line should go on through there. Okay, so, and if you have a look, we can see the y-intercept is actually 42.1. So my little graph, because see how I've missed here? If I actually lined it up, you'll see it would have gone through the 42.1. And it's only because I'm on the computer. I can't line it up properly. All right, so there's another example. Now, in your SACs, or in your tests and in your SACs next year, they will probably ask you to show this. So you need to show the working out. In this exam situation, they're not asking you. You just have to make sure your points are correct. They will know where the line should be, and your line should be going through the same spots. All right, so let's have a look. Here's one more. I'm going to stop the video here. I'll give you guys a go, and then we'll check back on the answer. Okay, so we did another one, and we've got the question, and we've talked about that. But this last little question, I wanted to bring it up. This happened in the Year 12 exam last year, and it was pretty poorly done. So we're going to go through it because it is sort of to do with linear graphs. Okay, so we have a look. It says a least squares line can be used to model birth rate in a country from average daily food energy. So I'm just going to help you here, and you'll get used to this. So what they're saying is they've created this little graph, and they've got birth rate over here. So birth rate is, say, your Y value, or we're going to start calling it RV. And then they're saying they look at that, and they look at food intake or something, food energy or something. Or energy, sorry. Oh, God. Sorry. So food energy. And that will be your X value. So whatever, they've done that, right? And in the end, they said the least squares line, so they've got some dots, some data, and then they say in here, they said the least squares line was fitted. So they put a straight line in there, okay? So they created that. And what they say here, they said for a country with the average food take of 8.53, the birth rate will be that. Now, I just told you that the energy was the X, and the birth rate is actually going to be the Y. So when they tell you that, they actually are telling you a point. So that's 8.53 and 32.2. So they told me one of the points on this pink line. Okay, and then they tell me